Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, so we are talking Turner syndrome. Now, today I want to kind of delve a little deeper into a topic I talked about before. I talked about my personal thing with it rather than more in general and more information on it. So that topic is HRT, or hormone replacement therapy. And I had a question in a comment the other day that asked if all girls with Turner syndrome have to take HRT or have to take hormones. And the quick answer to that is no, not every girl, but quite a few of them. And I am one of them. I have been on HRT since I was about 12 and a half, 13 years old. It is how I started having a cycle, and it is what continues to keep me having a cycle. The reason that we need HRT, for those of us that do, is because naturally we do not produce the normal level of the sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone. It's why there's developmental delays, it's why there's puberty delay, and sometimes girls don't even start puberty without it. For me, I'm pretty sure I started it because I had almost everything else happening but a cycle, and HRT was kind of what kick-started the rest of it and really finished it and took me through the rest of it. So that is what they do when there's delayed puberty, and they kind of kickstart that pretty early if they know it's going to happen. I think most of the time, if you are classic, they're not even going to question it really unless you are showing other signs. They're going to automatically assume they're going to need to do HRT with you, and they're going to want to get that started as soon as they can, because you're almost already in menopause if you're classic before you ever have HRT. And it kind of takes you back out of it and masks those symptoms and gives you a more normal functioning, if that makes any sense. I'm definitely not an expert on this, and so if anybody has heard anything or seen any new research on it or anything like that, let me know in the comments below, because I have pretty consistently been trying to figure this out more, as far as trying to understand it and understand what my body's doing. The question that started this is interesting because no, not every girl has to take it, but it's probably going to be pretty case-by-case basis. There are quite a few girls that are mosaic that don't need to take it. They can start puberty on their own. Those are usually the girls that don't find out they have Turner syndrome until they go to try to have a baby and they're having trouble. And that is really a perfect example of somebody that isn't going to need HRT because they didn't have that enough of that hormone deficiency to really need it. But for those of us that don't, it shows in height. It can show in a lot of different ways where we just aren't developing at the normal rate. And I think there's a spectrum of this. I don't think they don't see you hitting milestones and go, oh, yep, gonna need HRT. It's more they watch you. And I think they probably look for more signs than that to determine what would work better for you and when would work best to start you. I know me, they started as soon as I pretty much should have been starting puberty. And so that kind of heads it off, and you're able to have a closer to normal functioning and experience. So once again, all about your specific case. And what the HRT looks like can even be very tailored to what you need. If you don't need as high of a dose, that's going to show in how it makes you feel. I know for me, I had given way too high of a dose when I switched to a new one, and I felt it. It hurt my stomach. every time I took it because of how high of a dose of estrogen it was. And then I switched to a different one and I felt better, and it didn't hurt my stomach when I took it, and it was a lower dose. So you really have to even take the time within it to figure out what level is right for you and what form is right for you. There's injections, there's the patch, although the patch didn't really work well for me, and then there's the pill. And there's even multiple variations of the pill, because when I first started, there was one pill of estrogen that was Premarin, and then another that was progesterone. And I had to alternate those. But then, after I started my cycle, they wanted to get me off of Premarin as quickly as they could, so they switched me again. And they switched me to a generic birth control that had both together. I didn't need to take 2 different pills at that point, and that was really cool to only have one I had to take. But it did change how it affected me. And it was really good me getting off of Premarin though, because the other thing with HRT is you have to be careful with the side effects. I have a history of breast cancer in my family, and Premarin was the estrogen supplement that my grandmother was taking when she got it, and her sister was taking when her sister got it, and her niece was taking when her niece got it. So it was pretty consistent that all of them were on that same one, and it was one to be known to have more of a likelihood of that. So because of my already bad history with it, they didn't want to take the chance and leave me on it very long. So they switched me pretty quickly after I started my cycle, just to get me off of it as soon as they could. I have gone through a couple variations of different stuff. I really wanted to try the patch to try to not have to take a pill every day, and it didn't work for me. It just did not give me the dosage I needed. And it was the highest dose you can get in patch form. And I think it was estrogen patch, and then I had a progesterone pill I took with it also. So I alternated those with the weeks, like 3 weeks with the patch, 1 of progesterone. Then when I had that not really helping me, not really working, I switched back to a generic birth control. And the one I got given was Mononessa, and I didn't like it. It was the one that was too high of estrogen, and it made my stomach hurt. And now I'm on Microgestin after I got switched to a different one, and it is working much better for me. So there's a lot of things that you can try. There's a lot of different variations, and from what I've heard, there's pretty consistently new versions of HRT being tried out, or new research on how you could do HRT and maybe the best way to do HRT. And so new ideas for it and new options to try are pretty consistently coming out and being talked about. So if you get a doctor that is willing to try different stuff with you to find a really good one for you, that's great. And that's kind of really what you would want. I know for me, it was really cool to have a doctor at that point that was very up on the research and super like, oh yeah, I heard about this new thing, me and you can try it. And that's when we tried the patch, because I told her I was really wanting to at least give it a try. And she said, yeah, I have heard a really great variation of the regimen for it that might work for you, so we could try it and just see how you feel. And then it didn't work, and she was like, okay, yep, nope, we gave it a try, it didn't work, so there you go. And switched me back to a normal birth control pill. And she said, yeah, no, take what you were taking before so that you have what you need. That is kind of a little more about HRT. If you have any other specific HRT questions or just hormone questions, leave those in the comments below, and I will try to research them if I can't answer them myself. And I hope you liked this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and it gave you a little something to think about, a little more information on HRT. If it did, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. And if you are not already subscribed to my channel, click the screen and subscribe. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!